what you've gotten. What have you got to replace what you lost? I'm looking for that. I'm looking for the Byron Jones replacement and the Randall Cobb and the Quinn and the Frederick. Where are those? But all those signings that you just signed, Skip, of the DT Poe and the Zeurlein and this one, those are appetizers. You know what this is. This is all about that entree. Dak Prescott. And until you get him signed, sealed, and delivered, nothing else matters. Because it looks like that exclusive tag is under $30 million now. And you and I both know Dak ain't playing for under no $30 million. So something ain't gonna say, this whole plan coming together right nicely. Yeah, they're playing coming together right nicely. Right nicely.
Good. Okay, my turn. Let's start with the latest acquisition, which was Greg the Leg, as in Greg Zeurlein. I fell off my chair on Friday afternoon that the Cowboys had gone out and gotten a guy who was a top 5 kicker until last year. I give it to you, he had a bad year by his standards, but he was a top 5 kicker, and he's definitely got like a top 2 leg. And all of a sudden, they had just re-signed Kai Forbath, who I thought was pretty good the last couple of games last year. And they had an opening, an opportunity to say, let's go upgrade even more, because as you talked about, John Fossil, Bones Fossil, says, hey, I love this kid, and I can get him back on track this year in Dallas. He just needs a change of scenery. Shannon Sharpe, I'm going to remind you that a guy I used to call Brett the Fret, as in Brett Maher, last year was by any measure the worst kicker in all of football. By any measure, the worst kicker in football, because even from the 40 to the 49, which last year the average for NFL kickers from 40 to 49 was almost 75%. My guy, Brett the Fret, went 1 for 5. At one stretch, he missed 10 field goals in 11 weeks. He missed 2 field goals, as you recall, against the Packers. And if he hadn't missed the last one, at least they would have had an onside kick for a desperation attempt at tying the score. Then he missed a field goal at the Jets when they lost by 2, as you recall. He missed a field goal against the Vikings when they wound up losing by 4. He missed 2 field goals against the Bills. He missed a field goal at Chicago. I could go on, but I can add it up for you by saying that if they had had a hot field goal kicker last year, I believe it would have been the difference in 10 and 6. They went 8 and 8. But if you give me a hot kicker, a guy who can make all 5 from 40 to 49, which is not a big ask, they just might have gone 10 and 6 last year, and we'd be having a whole different conversation. So you know how much I hate field goal kicking, because it has way too much impact on the scoreboard. But I also have told you, if I were an NFL owner, I'd pay whatever it took to get Adam Vinatieri, because it changes games and seasons. And they just went and got Legatron, Greg the Leg. And if he bounces back next year, he's going to be way, way better than Brett the Fret. And I could not believe that Coach Clapp, as in Jason Garrett, hung on to Brett the Fret all the way through all those losses, all the way through the Chicago game, before they finally said, okay, we've seen enough. Your thoughts?
Oh, my goodness. See, Skip, now you know good and well, Jason Garrett didn't have that kind of pull. That was Jerry. Jerry didn't want to make any changes. And what was going on with Brett Maher, he can make field goals as long as there was no pressure. Skip, you remember he kicked the 62, 63 yarder right before the half? There's no pressure on that. But when we need those in the fourth quarter, or you need those late in the third quarter, that's when all of a sudden it was wide right, it was wide left, and sometimes the ball was barely getting over the offensive, over the line's head. Look, but you still, okay, I get Zeurlein. If he can return to form, he's an upgrade. But what have you done to replace what went out the door?
Okay, let's talk about that. They have made bargain basement deals for DT Poe, as you talked about. He's what, 300, I don't know what he weighs, 350 maybe? And I'm not sure if they're going to mix and match 3-4-4-3, because they do have Gerald McCoy, who was another bargain basement signing. So now you have 2 strong elephants for the middle of that line, and maybe it will shore up the run defense next year so that DeMarcus Lawrence can get a little more quick start off the edge and not have to worry so much about getting gashed with the run. Maybe Randy Gregory will finally get reinstated. And I remind you, last time we saw him, would he have 4 sacks in 6 games? He can play off the edge. He can flash off the edge. And it sounds like he's got a shot under the new CBA to get reinstated because, as you know, they're not suspending for positive marijuana tests anymore. So that could be very good news. And then, again, Byron Jones, I just never loved him because he never made plays on the ball. He had 2 interceptions in 5 years. So am I just losing sleep over him? Well, they re-signed Anthony Brown, so maybe he could start at corner, Jordan Lewis at the slot corner. They still got Awuzie. But maybe they draft a corner that could start for them. Maybe that'll be the first pick in that they make in the first round. And then, you know, the reason they're... Yeah, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
No, I was going to say, Skip, I'll give you that. Byron Jones is not a guy that takes the ball away, but he still was their best secondary presence. Robert Quinn was their best defensive lineman. And you haven't replaced it.
Okay. He was their best pass rusher. I'll give you that. But the guy who should have been their best pass rusher was the $100 million man who did not live up last year. I don't know. If he gets his fire relit, we had him on Undisputed at the Super Bowl, he's a top 5 pass rusher. I got to see that next year. Maybe a coaching change. Maybe he'll have a new change of mindset with, you know, under Mike Nolan. So
Mike McCarthy.
I don't know. He can be great. Yeah. So he could be great. And again, Jeff Heath, I never loved him. And they went out, bargain basement, steal of a deal for Clinton Dix. He was a McCarthy draft pick in Green Bay. I love him as a pass defender. He's never been great against the run, but will he be better than Jeff Heath against the pass? Yeah, he will be. So I'm starting to look at the defense as a little better than it was last year. Yeah?
Yeah, if he can regain the form, Skip, early in his career, because he was a Pro Bowl player. But for whatever reason, he lost confidence. He got injured. He has never been able to regain the early form that he displayed. Remember, Skip, I think he got traded. Didn't he get traded to Cleveland? He ended up in Chicago. And so now he's on, I think, his 4th team in 3 years. There's something going on here. Now, maybe, you know, maybe a change of scenery, maybe being reunited with his former head coach, maybe that brings some stability in his life. But he has not been the same safety early in his career, late in his career that he was early in his career.
Okay, now let's go to the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they overpaid for Amari Cooper, but at least he's still a Dallas Cowboy, and Pro Football Focus is taking that into account. They kept Amari Cooper, maybe for too much money, but he's still a Cowboy. And they have kept, by hook or crook, Dak Prescott. He's still the starting quarterback for the Cowboys, as far as I know. And to your point about these, why not? Is he going to hold out for the whole year next year? Or
and
what?
There's no telling, Skip. There's no telling what we're capable of doing. Y'all want to play with it. Y'all want to get funny with the money. We're going to get funny with the time.
Well, here's what's not so funny about his money. The reason Dak Prescott, to me, has come back to the bargaining table is because it suddenly became clear that that exclusive tag that they put on him is worth only $26.8 million right now because Roethlisberger and Kirk Cousins have renegotiated their deals, dropping the average salary. And all of a sudden, you know what's happening? That tag is falling. We thought it might be $33 million. Now it's $26.8. Maybe it'll go back up toward 28-ish before all is said and done. But all of a sudden, Dak's saying, wait a second, maybe I do need to take what Jerry's offering because next year's exclusive tag doesn't really pay me what I thought it might pay me next year. So I say that's advantage Jerry Jones. Thank you very much.
No, because Dak Prescott is saying, hold on, I just saw Ben Roethlisberger get 2 years, 3 years of guaranteed money, and they renegotiated and gave him more money. I saw Kirk Cousins make $56 million in 2 years. They renegotiate and gave him more money. I'm not coming back to the table for no little piddly 28 million, 27 million. No. You know what the price is, Jerry. $80 million fully guaranteed, 125 guaranteed. Come talk to me and Todd, and we'll see you at the bargaining table.
Well, he's back at the bargaining table, according to every report out of Dallas-Fort Worth. So once again, I think you're about to eat crow on that one. And I'm going to remind you one more time, Mr. Sharp, Cowboys are 16-1 to win the Super Bowl in Fox Bet, as opposed to 18-1 to the Eagles. So Cowboys are favored above the Eagles in these Super Bowl odds. So I'm going to rest my case on that one. You want to have the last word here?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of wooden-head people that lose a lot of money betting on the Cowboys to get to and win the Super Bowl. And Vegas says, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you. So up next here on Undisputed, this is going to be a doozy because Kawhi Leonard, the new king of L.A., once upon a time when he was a high school junior, declined LeBron's invitation to go up to Akron to LeBron's summer camp. We'll tell you why in just a moment here on Undisputed.
Now